Long ball number 3 here on Friday morning. Let's pick our MLS Fab Four to watch here on match week 2 for Major League Soccer. Full slate of games. It was a pretty entertaining. I mean, quality, was high ceiling, low floor, I'd say, for match week 1. Some
Yeah.
fun stuff, some playing and out of the back issues across the board. But let's circle 2 games each that we want to look at. With there being 30 teams, a whole lot of games to kind of keep an eye on. But what would you say was your? Let's start with one. What would be your number one pick of
Well,
the
that's a good
weekend?
question. Keeping an eye on, we've got is, and it's early, right? But what we've got is sort of a lot of matchups of a team that looks pretty good against a team that maybe hasn't looked good or didn't in week 1, or in some cases with CONCACAF Champions Cup, there's something to that too, right? RSL gets bounced by Herediano. By the way, congratulations to the Whitecaps who got past their Costa Rican opposition and will move forward. I'm going to circle first and foremost, and there's a couple reasons why. Philly hosting Cincinnati. You've got the incestuous nature of the coaching staffs in the past. Obviously, that's changed with Bradley Carnell coming in after Jim Curtin was let go last season. But this is, Pat Noonan. Maybe Pat Noonan looks at this as an opportunity to go avenge his friend Jim Curtin and take down the Union in Philadelphia or in Chester. Probably not that. It probably just wants to win the game because that's good for your chances to do something. Cincinnati is definitely high on a lot of people's lists to achieve things this season. Kevin Denke has looked excellent already. I mean, scoring goals in multiple competitions with the opener and now and the Champions League as well. They beat the Red Bulls last week 1-0. I think it's going to be one of those seasons where Cincinnati wins a lot of games 1-0. Obviously, Philly scored goals against Orlando in their first match. So I'm picking that as number 1.
I feel like that might be an aberration scoring all those goals, but a great opening weekend for Philly. My number one, Saturday, early afternoon, we talked to a fan about the Charlotte soccer scene. I suggest you check that video out, Morning Kick Around on YouTube. Subscribe and watch that video about the Charlotte soccer scene. But it's their home opener, and they are welcoming Atlanta. Atlanta was very exciting, thrilling, got a 3-2 win in their opening weekend at home, but they travel and visit Charlotte on their opening weekend. We didn't see Wilfred Zaha last week. I'm not sure if he's going to be in or not, but I think Charlotte at home versus the reinvigorated Atlanta would be a great way to start your MLS Saturday afternoon.
Okay, I mean that is interesting because obviously there's national team fans are keeping an eye on Najamang and trying to see if his development can get us to the place of getting excited about his potential to play for the U.S. men's national team. Yeah, I mean, who's not looking at Atlanta and thinking, okay, the leap is going to happen. Obviously, last year finishing ninth, but doing the business in the playoffs that they did against Inter Miami. They gave up 2 goals to Montreal, who I think is probably going to be better than I expected them to be. I think they had them down at the bottom of the East. Early return suggests maybe I was underrating Montreal a bit, but this could be the season for Atlanta. It could be a lot of 3-2s. I just said Cincinnati's going to win a lot of 1-0s, 1-0s. Atlanta could win a lot of 3-2. So this is an interesting pick. And again, the Charlotte difficult opener. It's like, how do you judge Charlotte? And there was a mistake at the back that gifted them a goal, and so it's not clear if they really earned that 2-2 against Seattle. But to get a point away in the Pacific Northwest, other side of the country, in your first week of the season, credit Charlotte. Keep an eye on them. I like that one. All right, my turn again. I got to go back.
Yeah, why don't you go? What's your number 2 in your so the third entry in our Fab Four for the weekend?
Okay, so we're talking again. We're talking MLS match day 2, so early, trying to figure out who's good, who's worth watching. This is entertainment value, right? I'm looking for something I can pick out here that's got like extra levels of maybe good soccer or goals, but perhaps also could be wild and crazy and chaotic. That's one of the things I like about Major League Soccer. Man, how about San Diego, St. Louis? San Diego,
Ooh.
first ever game. They beat the defending champion. LA Galaxy. Now they get a chance to open up their campaign at home, right? This is their first ever home game at Snapdragon Stadium. They play tomorrow night late. It'll be late for me. I'm not sure if I'm staying up for it. Maybe I'll catch the highlights. I don't know. And then St. Louis, new coach Olaf Melberg. They had that draw with Colorado. They didn't score any goals, so there's some pressure to go score goals, particularly against an expansion team. Just saying. I think I like that matchup with some narratives underneath it.
That's interesting, and that's a late one, but turning to, I'm sorry to not have much of a counterpoint to that pick. That seems sound.
No.
San Diego, fair enough.
I mean, it's just it's always fun to see a team debut at home, right? A new expansion team.
Yeah.
Right. Charlotte had the 70,000 the Galaxy were visiting. It was this huge thing, this huge event. I remember when St. Louis opened up that building and had this incredible atmosphere, and people talked about that immediately. What is Snapdragon going to deliver for San Diego FC, right? What's the vibe going to be like? Is it going to be intense, or is it going to be sort of a more of a laid-back California style of support? I mean, the Wave have had really good support in San Diego.
Yeah.
What does that look like for the men's side?
Yeah, that would be interesting. I guess it kind of slipped my mind that San Diego game was actually a road game, because the celebrations were so jubilant after they scored. It actually kind of like slipped my mind that actually wasn't a home game. So that's definitely a good one to circle. First home game for San Diego. My second choice to round out our Fab Four for match day 2 would be a matchup between two teams kind of having opposite starts to their season. We're going to go out west. Real Salt Lake taking on the Seattle Sounders. Okay. And so the season for this is a little bit more narrative. So I'm not sure if it may not have the wow entertainment factor, but I think for narrative's sake, it could be the most interesting game. It's coming on at the 4:30 time slot on Saturday afternoon. And for those not paying attention yet, Real Salt Lake has not started well at all. They've lost their CONCACAF Champions Cup, and they got beat 4-0 in match day 1. So things not going well for the folks in Real Salt Lake, whereas Seattle Sounders, the start of their 2025 campaign couldn't have gone any better. They won against Guatemalan CONCACAF Champions Cup. I suppose it could have gone better. They only got a draw on match day 1, so it could have been a step farther there. But all arrows seem to be pointing up for Seattle here in the early goings of the season, while they kind of look like they're pointing down a little bit for Salt Lake.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what Salt Lake always finds a way to compete. And is this a step back for them this season? Obviously, we're trying to replace Chicho Arango, and they doing that is extremely difficult. And I know that they're supposed to be in the market looking for options. Apparently, per Tom Bogert, they kicked the tires on Brian White from Vancouver, on Willie Agata from Sporting Kansas City. I think there was one or two names, other MLS names that maybe they were interested in. They may have to look outside the league to sign somebody, but they desperately need a center forward. And we're going to see, if Pablo can find ways to score at all against one of the best defensive teams from 2024 in the Seattle Sounders. And the Sounders on the other side, one X factor for them, because right, Jordan Morris, Christian Roldan, you go out and you get Jesus Ferreira, you go get Paul Arriola, both of whom are looking good in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But the X factor is whether or not Pedro de la Vega actually delivers on some of the promise when they brought him in, when they bought him. Injuries, lack of effective play, just wasn't very good last season. And it looks like, and it's early, but again, how do you judge the CONCACAF Champions Cup and that performance? But it looks like De La Vega is in a different place. And if he starts giving them goal contributions, when they have returned basically all of their goal contributions from 2024 and added Jesus Ferreira and Paul Arriola, this is why I'm extremely high on the Seattle Sounders. I picked them to win the Supporter Shield, and I think we're seeing already the reasons why they could be a force this season.
Looking into the chat of what MK Ultras are excited for this weekend. Our guy Mike Thomas looking at the SKC versus San Jose. The Bruce Project started off with a bang. How many 4-0 wins did they have last year? Probably not too many. So Earthquakes fans probably very excited about the start there.
Yeah, and I would say that on the other side, Sporting Kansas City needs to win relatively soon, or the pressure is only going to intensify. You know, Peter Vermees is the furniture in Kansas City at this point, but eventually they may have to look real hard at this and say, well, maybe we've got to get a divorce because it's just not working out. You can only live on credit for so long before the returns have to show up. Now, I know Sporting has had some major change. You could argue they're in a rebuilding phase, and I guess that buys Peter Vermees some extra leeway. They brought in Mike Burns to do the roster building job because Peter was doing both for so long. I don't know, though. Like, Sporting did not look good in the loss to Austin. They need to win. I don't know San Jose. I mean, they're at home, right? And based on San Jose season last year, that's going to feel like not a must win, but a must show better for Sporting Kansas City.
One last comment from the chat on this topic. Simply Dope. He expects Charlotte to win on his birthday. That would be a nice present. So happy birthday to you tomorrow, Mr. Dope. That would, I'm sure, put the icing on top of your day. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We crashed past the 1,000 subscriber mark. Let's keep it going. What should our next goal be? Should it be 2,500 or go big and go 5K?
I mean, we got goal. Our goals is to get a more subscribers every single day. That's the goal. Do I like round numbers? Yes, of course I like round numbers. We're past 1,000. 2,000 would be 2,000 in by next week. Why not? I know, again, we're covering all kinds of stuff here on Morning Kick Around. We're a general show, but I know the USL community has responded well to what we've been doing with covering some stories there. So tell people about what we're doing. We're looking to bring in guests on a regular basis. How about this for a tease? Not only can you vote on the name of our Soccer Morning Rooster, but how about this for a tease? We're putting together a feature, a series, bringing in some of the more controversial figures. I don't know what the right word is. People who are trying to rock the American soccer boat. You may know of them from their online presence in some cases. In other cases, they'll be, maybe more executive type figures. I think we could even throw Peter Wilt into that category, although we didn't label him a soccer disruptor. That's what we got coming. I'm excited for that. So look forward to that. And subscribe so you don't miss those.
Yeah, the poll's going to go up sometime this afternoon, naming the Rooster Peck Shea, David Peckham, Marco Rooster, or Franz Peckenpower. The options.
Peckenpower.
Yes. That's a strong one. Very powerful, if you will. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media at mkickaround on all the major ones you see there on your screen. You can write us an email. We've been getting some nice ones. I don't know if you've checked the email, but some nice notes for us to respond to at morningkickaround@gmail.com. Or throw us a couple dollars, ko-fi.com/morningkickaround.